Welcome to the next chapter. I'd say I did a thing. Every day's life on a boat just got a little bit bigger. This is a 2001 Silverton 42-foot convertible. And this is going to be the next chapter, the next project, and the next life on the water. So this boat's definitely going to need some love and TLC, but I figured it's the perfect project and perfect opportunity to get into a bigger boat at a reasonable price, if that is such a thing. This is a one-owner boat, and the couple had it for almost 24 years. They traveled with it back and forth from North Carolina to Florida and the Bahamas, and unfortunately they just were getting older and didn't use the boat as much, so they decided to put it on the market. Holy cow, I got most of the truck unloaded and most of it on the swim platform. The majority of what all this is maintenance. Oil, filters, empty jugs, water pump impellers, gallons and gallons and gallons of oil for all the machinery and transmissions. Well, we are in the engine room of the 42. This is where I'm going to be spending most of the next few days getting everything ready for the trip back home. Just going to do a quick pan around, and I'm going to go into a lot more detail as we work on all the projects. The first thing I'm doing is putting some lighting down here while I'm waiting for the engines to warm up with the block heaters. Going to do an oil change, an oil filter, and all that good stuff. And it's pretty tough to pump out cold oil, so the best I'm going to do is heat the engines up with the block heaters because the boat is still out of the water. Project number one there is some better lighting. And this camera's probably pretty good, but the difference between that and that hopefully is noticeable. So I'm starting with some lights while I'm letting the blocks warm up for an oil change. Out with the old, in with the new. And I gotta say, I'm kind of roughing this in because I'm on a deadline, and if time allows, it'll be less rough and more in. But again, the reason I'm doing this first is because having lighting in the engine room will make every project going forward that much better. So I think it's worth the time now to get this done. Again, while the engines are trying to warm up with the block heaters at least a little bit to get the oil get the oil maybe more than 50 degrees. So we have a afternoon update. Port oil is being pumped out right now. I just topped off the coolant, which is really easy to get to with that much space. So I grabbed a 3/8 primer ball and some tube from West Marine and just able to easily siphon the coolant right in. Well, not siphon, but pump the coolant with the squeeze ball. So that's topped off. That was maybe like a quarter gallon low. I couldn't touch it with my finger. Now I can. I've got the air filters and crank breathers to do. And water pump, easy peasy on the port engine. That's going to suck on the starboard engine. Alternator to do, generator, everything still to do there. But I did spend some time, like I said earlier, getting these lights installed and letting the engine warm up some to make the oil change pump work at least a little bit better. Did make one run to West Marine Lowe's to get some more supplies, but overall going well so far. Sunset day one. Far from the end of the work day, but I have to go walk down the pier and check this out. Good old cast net. Didn't quite catch it in time, but there were a boat just flew by here, and I guess that's kind of one thing that isn't great about this spot if you had to tie up temporarily. A lot of wake through here. Although you would think there'd be a no-wake zone with the marina right here, but I guess not. What a sunset. Saturday, November 23rd. She's just a little bit bigger than the 34 by multitudes. All right, let's get back to work in the engine room. Figure I'd take a second to pause and film. This is terrible. I popped an oil filter off to kind of get a little bit more access. Bleeding. Got some vice grips, just trying to work each fin in and out of there, but holy cow, it is slow progress, and it just will not break free there. There's no room to get a pooler in there. And this is, you know, close to center line. The starboard engine pump is somewhere back in that corner I'm gonna have no access to. So, yeah, that's gonna be good. So, water pump update, bleeding, good. Had the oil drain from all the engines. All the filters are super stuck, so I need to get another filter wrench that's big enough for these filters. But it's about 8 o'clock in the evening on day one, and probably gonna work till maybe 10 or 11 and call it a night. All right, battery charger time. So of course with the AC power off, and I flipped the DC power off to the breaker, I have put in a new Pronotic charger. I figured out that this is bank 1, bank 2, and this is the generator. So it's on 1, 2, 3, the ground. Gonna wire in the AC there. This one's pretty straightforward. I wanted to make sure I had position 1, 2, and 3 correct. Just used a voltmeter and process of elimination with what had voltage with what breaker on or off. So now I have that set. Now I know what goes to what. So that's good there. I'm going to go ahead and get the triplex wire extended, tied up, and installed. Then I'm going to get this thing set up and back online. The batteries had a really good charge on them, I guess, with the old charger, but it was rusty and nasty, and it was probably time for something new. I don't know what this thing is. It's kind of hacked, so I knew that going in I was going to need a new battery charger, so I just committed to getting one today. Got the ray core change on the starboard side. All of the oil filters and fuel filters are pretty darn tight, so I need to go get a filter wrench tomorrow. But overall going pretty well here. I did realize that I'm just not going to be able to fit on the starboard side at all. I might have to take the exhaust off and try to crawl on the outboard side from the aft end. Yeah, that super tight. I guess everyone was right. And currently the hatches are carpeted over, which is really, really convenient for working on the outside of the engine. And I can't squeeze between the breaker panel and the sea strainer, so that's no good either. But all right, I'm gonna get the battery charger finished and go from there. Welcome back, guys. This is day 2 on Sunday morning on the 24th of November. I am impatiently waiting outside of West Marine for them to open because, you know, it's an hour trip back and forth from the boat to the store. The hotel's right here, and breakfast and Walmart was all right here, so I just decided to wait. But I need to go get a water pump and pooler because holy crap, I fought for that impeller for over an hour and I could only get it about a third of the way out. So if this tool doesn't fit, don't know what to do yet. But with that being said, I did get some oil filter wrenches, some more tubing, some funnels to put the oil back in the engine.
and fill the transmissions and generator appropriately as well. I'm just never been a big fan of using the oil suction pump to put oil back into the engines. That's just never been my thing. And since this current boat has the engine hatches carpeted over, there's no easy way to pour the oil or coolant back into the top of the engine. So I got a squeezy ball primer pump for the coolant. I'm not going to try to squeezy ball 6 gallons of oil into each engine. So I'm going to do this little funnel setup here. But with that being said, Walmart for more oil buckets, filter wrenches, snacks, Pop-Tarts, water, supplies, Gatorade. I'm going to hit West Marine this morning for some more tubing and that water pump pooler. I've got some diesel on board to fill the filters a little bit and go from there. So a pretty successful wrap on day one. You know, I just had to get there, unload everything, get familiar with the boat, just start on something, which you all saw earlier in the video. I started with the lights while let the engines warm up. I was able to get all the oil out of everything, and most of the filters were stuck, so I got a filter wrench today. I did put the new battery charger in, so that's done. That makes me feel better about keeping the batteries topped off and where they should be. So hit list for today is try to finish the engine room, which means water pumps, finish the oil change, finish the fuel filter change, put the alternator on the port engine, and do some maintenance on the generator, which should be more simple because the water pump is smaller, it's accessible. I can put the oil right into the generator from the fill, and the fuel filters are right there as well. So generator shouldn't be too bad, and it's kind of the least of my concern because it's not required for the trip home. It's just a luxury, really. Day 2 at the boat, whole list of projects to do. Let's get to it. All right, well, Silverton 42 owners and other people with similar boats, I guess, where there's -0 clearance between the engines and the overhead. Now, like I said earlier, this boat does have hatches, but it's currently carpeted over, so I'm kind of making do. I'm not a big fan of using the reverse change system to put the oil back in the engine, just kind of a thing of mine. So I am filling it through the dipstick, which I don't see why that would be an issue. Slowly but surely putting a gallon in at a time. And I'll have this little setup to top off the oil if needed and things like that, because not really an easy way to do it otherwise. So if you'd have to just do a top off, this is a perfect method too. But until I get those hatches cut open, I'm just filling it this way, and it's painful, but it's going. Well, on gallon number 3 there, weep, I think out of 5.5 or, you know, something like that. Got the Succo-Matic 9000, getting the transmission fluid out. I believe there's a filter and a screen down there, but I gotta refer to the manual on that one. I'm at least gonna take as much fluid out as I can here. I might dump in a quart, you know, suck whatever off the bottom. It's just starting to take a prime. Shorter the hose, the easier it is, but rather be too long than too short. Okay, I definitely had to stop here and film this absolute nonsense. So, 10mm socket, deep well for the win, with a metric M12 by 1.75 thread, with 2 jam nuts on a threaded rod because they didn't have any kind of bolts big enough, using a M6 fastener instead of the black T handle there. And holy cow, we are finally getting it out. This has been crazy. Terrible job. Terrible job. And this is the easy side. I can't even get to the other side. Yikes. Took 2 days to do that. Well, it's about 8 o'clock on day 2. I've got the alternator pretty much disassembled. Got this bracket loose, all these things loose. I'm hoping if I pull this towards me, I can slide the alternator out this way, up is not an option with these huge coolant tubes here. Generator is pretty much good. Got the oil filter, fuel filter. Gotta top it off with oil. You know, having these little buckets is nice to dump the filters in. Rake core for the generator and C-strainer were right there. Pretty much the same from what I've been saying. This engine room is tight. I don't know how people do the outboard on the starboard engine between, you know, the stairs and everything there. You got to have better access with the hatches. That's going to be my assumption there, because otherwise you got to be a small child to get back around there. So goal for tonight is to get the alternator done, finish the generator, and change the fluid in the transmissions. I don't know what I'm going to do yet on the starboard engine, oil filters, or water pump, but figure it out. There's got to be a better way. Had to take the strainer down, kind of lay it down, climb over top of it, put my foot there, put a knee there, and get around to the side of the engine for the filters. The water pump's just gonna have to wait. Like, holy cow, that was terrible as it was. I'm just gonna have to get these hatches open. That's the only way. Yeah, that's terrible. If they sell a remote oil kit thing for this engine, that would be nice. That oil change easy, oil filter change hard. I almost let that go and said, I'll just change it later when I get the boat home and it's got fresh oil. The big filter was barely hand tight. I mean, just twisted right off. And that would explain the oil underneath the engine coming from right there. So I'm glad I did the right thing and sucked up about 90 minutes to change 2 filters, but it's done. Here we go.
Well, we are back in the water after 3 long days down in the engine room. We just did a quick skip up and down the creek. All looks good. I'm going to go down to the engine room and check over everything once I get tied up really well. So far, so good. Boat ran well, and we're going to be sitting on this floating dock for the next couple days so I can come back down here and start taking the boat home. Was able to get the boat out of the slipway no problem and avoided a nice multi-million-dollar Jarrett Bay and didn't even get close to that. So that was, driven a boat before, driven some bigger boats before, but when you're by yourself and it's a new to you boat and there's other expensive boats around you, it's just a little stressful. Well, it is the end of day 3. I am wiped out. Still sweating from working down in the engine room. I just finished over a few things there and checked on the generator and the engines and had to bleed the generator after doing the fuel filters. All that's good to go. But I figured I'd give an interior tour before I junk it up any further with all of my crap. So, without further ado, storage closet, 2 or 3 person couch that actually pulls out to a bed. I know everyone loves that. The new office, seating for, I don't know, 4 or a tight 5. Space up there for junk. And my favorite, ouch, as I rip my finger off, rod storage, which is going to need the clips put back in because they're kind of haphazardly thrown in there. But rod storage in the salon that is hidden away, which is super cool. Previous owners left this lamp, which is kind of neat. I'm gonna leave it there for the time being. Actually, I think it's not going anywhere. Not sure if they came with the boat or someone committed and glued that down. Liquor cabinet. Microwave, stove. There's a fridge under here. Fridge, freezer. Utensil storage. More storage. Sink with one of those, I forget what he called it, but it's like an extra purifier for the water. Ice maker, probably doesn't work. Cabinets, drawers. Microwave that's going to hit the trash can. That's original to the boat. Plenty of storage. I'll make sure to fill it all up with stuff. Coffee maker, which, I don't know, might still work, but I think that's original to the boat as well. Moving forward, the guest bedroom, or stateroom, sleeps 2. I believe there's some access to the generator back in, no, not that corner. It would have been somewhere over here. Some more storage up above. Full cedar lined closet. Some HVAC duct. Now you can get to the head from the guest room as well, but I've got that door closed. I'm sorry, that's the shower. Get to the shower from the guest room. And the master with a space for a TV and junk. Drawers for clothes, which is a huge upgrade. Didn't really have that before. Another full-size hanging locker for all the suits that I have but don't wear. Ooh, heater. Didn't even know that was in there. And don't know what any of that stuff is either. That's a problem for another day. Here's the head, which needs a toilet seat. No big deal. Nice countertops throughout. Have an exhaust fan. And it actually has an air conditioning supply. Medicine cabinet. I believe, do not put anything in toilet. That makes sense. This opens. Yeah. Huh. Even more stuff. Oop. Got a light out. I'll fix that. So plenty of space. Headroom. That's a new thing. So that's awesome. So you can get to the head from either the companionway there or from the master. The guest bedroom has access from either the companionway or 2 ways into the shower. There's the other door there. Which, I mean, kind of neat way to do it. I mean, just more doors, I guess. Overhead light. And the second air conditioning is under the bed and where the eventual bow thruster will go. And I think, since really because I bought this boat for space, and it was a good deal, which in boat terms probably means I'm going to pay for it one way or another. There's no getting out of boat. But I think this is where the washers and dryer is going to go. Going to have to do some measuring and configuring, but I've seen this boat with this part as the washer and dryer combo. You can discharge and vent literally right there because that's the side of the boat. So that's easy. Oh, found those. There's a lot of lights everywhere on this boat, which is actually really cool. There's even courtesy lights. But that'll be a project that I hopefully accomplish, early next year, is get the washer and dryer in there. Probably going to go ahead and just get all new bedding, bed sheets, pillows. I'm assuming these pillows are original. I've read that the boat came with 669 pillows. I kind of believe it because they are everywhere, which is cool that they still have them. And kind of testament to this boat being a one-owner boat. This was bought brand new in 2001. And the second owner. So that's definitely pretty cool. And today is just the beginning. Well, this weekend, really. Well, actually, I guess today is the first day I own the boat. Technically, I did close on it at 10 a.m. Monday morning, which was November 25th. So today, I guess, is day one of owning the boat and doing all the things that come along with it. We had a successful weekend doing maintenance, good launch. We ran the boat up and down the creek. Everything looked okay in the engine room. Just like I said earlier, I finished off the generator. And away we go. This is day one. And hopefully this is the first happiest day of boat ownership, is signing on the dotted line. There'll be a lot of projects to come, a lot of work to do. All right, well, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. This is the end of day 3, but first day of owning the boat. Got pretty much everything I wanted to do done. I didn't get the VHF installed, which is not a big deal. And I didn't get the water pump installed, which may be a bigger deal because having running water on the boat is nice. I have the pump on board. I just didn't get to it because a water pump doesn't stop me from running the boat like everything else would. So got a couple things left to do. I'm going to plan this week. It's Thanksgiving week as well, so everyone's crazy and busy and crazy busy. So we're going to have to figure that out, but I'm going to save that for episode 2 on the trip back through the Intercoastal Waterway from Beaufort, North Carolina to Poquoson, Virginia. Well, and on that, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.